Ahoy mateys from Beak and Barrel.
We are in the Magic Kingdom trying out Disney's brand new bar and lounge. It is actually the first bar and lounge in the Magic Kingdom. It's a pirate themed bar. I'm so excited. I've got my Smee bound going on today. I'm ready to try some drinks, maybe find some buried treasure.
I'm ready. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
Let's go.
As we mentioned, Beak and Barrel is Magic Kingdom's first bar that is actually inside of the park. Traditionally, Magic Kingdom is what's considered a dry park, so the only places that you can get alcohol or adult beverages is in the sit-down restaurants. Think Cinderella's Royal Table or Jungle Skipper Canteen, any of those places. Beak and Barrel is located in Adventureland. It's right next to the Pirates of the Caribbean ride, basically sandwiched between the attraction and the gift shop. Beak and Barrel is going to be similar in style to something like Oga's Cantina over in Hollywood Studios, mixed in with maybe like a little bit of the vibes of Trader Sam's at the Polynesian Resort. Now this is going to be a bar that you're going to have to drink your drinks while inside. You can't get them and go, but they do have a fun variety of different kinds of cocktails, both alcoholic and non-alcoholic, and this one is family friendly, so you can bring your kids or your family with you. Similar to Oga's Cantina, you will need reservations in order to experience this lounge. Currently, you can book those through the My Disney Experience app up to 60 days in advance of your visit. While inside, you will have a time limit of 2 drinks per person or 45 minutes, kind of whichever one comes first. They do kind of want to cycle people through fairly quickly, and they just don't want people getting wasted in the Magic Kingdom. We made it to our table. You're sitting in the, I think they said this is the captain's quarters. Is that what they said this room is called?
I believe so.
I feel like that's what I've heard. The theming here is really cool. We're gonna kind of walk around in a little bit and take a little closer look, but the theming is very detailed.
This is like Galaxy's Edge level of detail, in my opinion. There's stuff everywhere. You know what it actually reminds me of a little bit is Dinoland USA, in the sense that there's like stuff everywhere to look at, little Easter eggs, knickknacks, like they hold out, like Imagineering is back.
It does have that very high level of theming, very similar to something like Oga's Cantina. It's just instead of being space themed, it's themed to pirates, which is very much my cup of tea. So I do think that's really cool. Now, this space is actually pretty decently sized. Oh, our drinks just got here. Hold on. Fam, we have officially done Beak and Barrel. We are filming this kind of like after the fact because as we got in there, it got very chaotic and very like crowded, especially like outer table. We'll talk about that in just a second. And so it was a little difficult to actually film while we were enjoying the beverages and drinks and food and all of that stuff. So
yeah, and obviously we wanted to respect the people that we were sharing a table with. Again, more on that in a second. We'll like insert clips of like our drinks and the overall vibe and everything like that. We'll insert throughout the rest of this review.
So let's basically kind of just walk through what our experience was like. As we got in, the host, he was letting us know you get 45 minutes. Your adventure is 45 minutes is what they said. And you can get 2 beverages per person. So that's kind of how they keep everything paced appropriately, which we did know that going into it. However, when we got in there and we sat down, there are 2 sections, like there's two sides of the lounge. There's the main area where the bar is, where a lot of the action happens. And then there's what's called the captain's quarters, which is kind of like that secondary area, which is where we actually sat, which part of me was kind of glad we got to sit there because that was, I think, the area that I think people are going to have a lot of questions about. So I'm glad that we're going to be able to answer some of that. It's not that it's quieter, but it is a little bit more removed from the action. So I think if you're not into being like right in the middle of everything, that was a good area to sit. However, that is also where all of the big booths are. And we sat in a big booth and they sat us with two other families. So we were all very, very close quarters. Like, that was really my biggest complaint that I was hoping that they wouldn't do, because that's a really big thing that people don't love about Oga's is the standing and the fact that you're like nose to nose with other parties. You do need to be prepared going into it that you will probably be right next to other people that are not in your party.
So to put it into perspective, we were a party of 4, and the booth that we were in sat a total of 8 people that comprised of 3 different parties. So it was us and then 2 other parties of 2. 6 of us were in the booth, and then 2 people sat essentially on little stools
Facing the wall.
Facing the wall. And so we'll probably put this into like pros and cons, but I'm not gonna lie, that really put a sour taste in my mouth. Because where I was in the very dead center of the booth. And because of where we were in the captain's quarters, when everything is happening in the main room, there are certain things that do happen in that little side room. For example, a little shipwreck. I couldn't see it.
It was right next to us, but because it was right next to us, we couldn't really see what was going on. And I think like there were other tables that like had actual chairs that you could get up and move and go see what was going on. And people were doing that, and that's totally okay. But because we were kind of trapped in the booth, like we were kind of stationary of what we could see from our table was what we could see from our table. So I think if you are coming and you can request to sit in the main room or maybe request to not sit in the booths, it's not guaranteed because a lot of it just depends on your party size and availability and whatever. But I think if I were to go again, I would request personally to either be in the main room or to at least not be in one of those booths, because I didn't love that we were trapped the whole time.
The way to sum it up of how I felt was like I was in the window seat of an airplane. I could see everything that's happening. I had a great view because I wasn't stuck. Like, for example, the stools that were sitting there, they were just looking at me and the wall behind me. Whereas where I was, I could see everything, but I was trapped. I couldn't get out.
Truly, I almost feel like that's the only real con is that aspect. I think we got very overwhelmed when we first came in. We sat down and we were kind of like, whoa, and our waitress, and I think this was maybe more of just like because it's new and they're still trying to figure out, but she immediately, like, we hadn't even been sitting down 30 seconds. We hadn't had time to look at the menu or anything. She's like, okay, let's take your orders because we only have 45 minutes. And I was like, whoa, good thing we had already decided what we were getting before we came, because I mean, surely if we would have been like, hey, I need a minute, she would have been fine with that. But I was like, can I have like 2 seconds to catch my breath, please? Because I'm still reeling over the fact that where I'm sitting is not super ideal.
But on the flip side of that, I didn't hate that she did that, because if you knew what you wanted out of the gate, she was maximizing your 45 minutes.
Yes, and I think a lot of it was more just like, I just think they're trying to still figure out their finesse and like their timing, their pacing of that. I think it's new. It's literally only been open for 3 days, so they're still trying to figure that stuff out. Okay, now that we've gotten all the negative stuff out of the way, let's talk about the pros, because truly, this was so fun and I loved it, and I would come back to this in a heartbeat. Everywhere you look, there is details and Easter eggs and story, and that is the kind of stuff that I absolutely adore when Disney does that. If you do get in a situation like us where you are kind of trapped in your booth the whole time, don't be afraid to take a few minutes after, whenever you're done, to go walk around and look at everything. I mean, that's how all of the B-roll that we're showing you in this video, we spent a good like 15 minutes just walking around and getting pictures and stuff. So that's totally okay. You are totally allowed to do that. The 45 minutes is just so that they can make sure that the tables themselves are running. So yes, don't be afraid to linger a little bit if you are still wanting to go look around.
Now that that's out of the way, let's talk about what your probably here for, and that's the drinks.
The drinks. Okay, I do need to pull up the menu because I can't exactly remember what the names of everything were, but we did try a good variety of stuff. First up was food. Let's talk about food because we did only get one food item. We got the Cook's Corn Griddle Cakes with Chipotle Braised Chicken. These were super delicious, very spicy.
It was the spiciest thing I've had in this park.
I was not prepared for how spicy it was. Now, I think I personally had gotten like a pepper, like a straight up pepper or like a seed, because there was something on the tip of my tongue that was absolutely burning the whole time. But the flavor was really good.
I was shocked how good it was. It was almost like an arepa, kind of.
Mm-hmm. It reminded me a lot of an arepa, but it had pork in it.
Yeah.
Chicken. I keep calling it pork. It had it was like pulled chicken, so it looks like pork, but it was pulled chicken.
Not parrot.
Not parrot.
Our server made it very abundantly clear that it was chicken and not parrot.
I'd be curious to go back and try maybe some of the other stuff. So there's not a ton of food there. So don't go into this expecting that you're going to have a meal. It's going to be more like light bite snacks. But I know the other people at our table got the Island Provision, which was like their chip and dip offering, which looked pretty good. There's also a Kraken's Catch, which is like a ceviche type situation, which I think I'd be curious to try. I think I would like it. I don't think Mark Allen would like it at all because it's seafood, but I'd be curious to give it a try. And then I know that one of the non-alcoholic drinks has kind of like a sweet, almost like dessert type accompaniments that go with it. So those are kind of your foodie things. But I was very pleased with our corn cake situation.
Yeah, it was truly delicious. Just be forewarned, it is spicy. Let's talk about mocktails. They do have two. They have the Cursed Treasure and the Treasure's Trove. We did try one of those. We tried the Cursed Treasure. This was delicious.
Yeah, so think of it, it was basically like cookies and cream with a touch of coconut. Like that's kind of what the flavor was, and it was incredibly sweet. Like, so if you don't like sweet drinks, like this is very, very, very sweet, but it was very good.
I really liked it. You could definitely taste the white chocolate in it, but also the coconut. Those were definitely the prominent flavors that came out. Overall, for mocktail though, for $7.75, it felt very well crafted. That's not a bad price. That's a lot cheaper than I thought that would be. Okay, yeah. So that was really good, and it was presented really cute because it was in kind of like a mule, like the copper cup. And then it had a little doubloon chocolate on the top. So I love the presentation. The Treasure Trove, I think it's a little bit different of a drink. It seems like it's a little bit more of like a fruity drink, but it is kind of the same idea. And then it comes with those accompaniments. So it comes with like a little vanilla cake and a chocolate cannonball and golden caramel popcorn. So whatever those are, we didn't end up getting. We'll save that for next time. Those were kind of fun. All right, now let's talk about our alcoholic drinks. So we got 4 drinks because we got 4 drinks and then we got one non-alcoholic. So the first one was the Siren's Whisper. This is the blue drink. So this is pot and column still white rum blend, Bowls Blue Curacao liqueur, Combier crème de pêche de vin liqueur, lime and cinnamon. This one was fun. I don't know if we got it on video because it happened really fast, but she came over and she like dropped a couple drops of something. Mermaid tears
into this drink. It's very beautiful. It's super blue. And it was really good too. I liked it.
It was not for me. It was a little sweet, and I don't know. Granted, I only got one sip of it. To me, I got a lot of the blue curacao flavor in this one, and lime and cinnamon I didn't really pick up. That may have just been me, but it was just incredibly sweet for me. It was a lot sweeter than I think I had anticipated because the type of glass that it's in, I would have thought it to be a little bit more, not a martini, but like martini-esque, like something a little more dry like that. But it is more on the sweet side for sure. But I think it was good, and it was really pretty, and it was a fun, I liked the presentation of it. The next drink that we got was the Port of Call, which is London dried gin, ruby port, lemon juice, and spiced cranberry. I really liked that one. I was shocked that I liked this drink because it's a gin drink. I don't like gin because gin is usually a lot more like florally, like borderline, like it's kind of like, it reminds me of tea. And I'm a coffee drinker. I'm not a tea drinker. And so it just has that like earthy, florally taste. I don't know.
Which is why I like it.
But I liked this one.
It was really good.
The way I described this one, it was that it tasted like Gatorade.
Yeah, it was almost like a blackberry Gatorade. The best way I describe it, if you've ever had the blackberry moonshine sour in Epcot, it's like a way less sweet version of that. Because it has that kind of berry flavor. I loved that the cup that it came in was super ice cold, and then you have the little berry garnish on top. So it, again, presented very well. I really liked that drink. Actually, we got it because one of the girl at our table, she had ordered it, and we were like, what is that? And so we got that, and I was like, oh, I like this. All right, and then my drink that I got, because we were with some friends, and so we were kind of all sharing drinks, but the drink that I actually got was the Lit Fuse, and I adored this. This was my favorite one of any of the ones that we got. This is Los Siete Misterios Doba Ye Mezcal, Tempest Fugit, creme de banana liqueur, coconut water, lime juice, and Hella Cocktail Co. smoked chili bitters. This was such a good drink. It was really well balanced. It wasn't super sweet, but it did have just enough sweetness. I love the mezcal chili flavor. Kind of gives it a little unique twist. So it wasn't like a super fruity cocktail, but it also wasn't something like crazy heavy like an old fashioned. Like it was just a really good kind of in between, refreshing. I loved it. It was delicious.
I even tried this, and I went going into it saying I'm gonna absolutely hate this because I loathe mezcal. Mezcal to me tastes like how Rome burning on Spaceship Earth smells, or like the burning scene in Pirates. This was I was shocked that I loved this drink. To me, I think it was a fun kind of homage to the burning scene of Pirates because it kind of did have that like smoky.
I loved it. It was really, like, truly, I would get that drink again in a heartbeat. It was very, very good. It was like everything that I love in a drink. I love just a little bit of sweetness, but I don't love things that are so strong that I'm like gonna put hairs on my chest. It was so good. I would 10 out of 10 recommend that one in a heartbeat. But you have to like mezcal. If you're like super opposed to mezcal, it may not be the drink for you because you do get that taste for sure.
And then for my drink, I got the Barrels Ablaze. It was Jack Daniel's Bonded Bourbon, honey, lemon, and chili. So this is kind of their take on a spicy old fashioned. Granted, it was definitely sweeter because of like mainly the honey in it.
Your drink was sweeter than my drink.
It was sweet.
Which is funny because normally I go for the sweeter drinks than him.
Granted, I wasn't sure because of the bourbon how sweet it was going to be, but I loved this drink. If you've ever had like a spicy margarita, it's kind of in that ballpark, but with bourbon. I would say if you're looking for an old fashioned or something like that, I don't think you're going to find something strong flavored like that here. Not to say that the drinks aren't strong, but something where you can like, where it's very alcohol forward. We didn't have anything like that.
It's definitely more about the flavors. Like it's more the flavors and the fun drinks and the fun presentation. And like you do get like, they are boozy drinks. They're definitely boozier than I thought that they would be, but they're not. It's definitely more about the flavors and the experience of them.
Overall, the drinks were, in general, all delicious. I loved all of them. They all were very strong. I'm not gonna lie. It was a little weird walking out in Magic Kingdom trying to catch my sea legs.
I think Mark Allen is a lightweight. He had approximately 1 1/3 drinks.
To be fair, we don't drink that often. Granted, we did just drink around the world in World Showcase. So make sure you stay tuned for that video because that will be coming out shortly. It's a little weird to feel the side effects of alcohol in Magic Kingdom. Is that just me?
I guess. I don't know. I don't really think about it that much, but I think overall the drinks were really good. I was not going into this expecting to like the drinks as much as I did because knowing beforehand that they were pre-batched drinks, I've had pre-batched drinks on Disney property before and they haven't been the best. They've been fine, but a lot of times they've been very fruity, juicy, like, I don't know. If you would have told me that they were making these drinks fresh from scratch right there at the bar, I would have believed you. Like, because they really were, they did have that more complex flavor palette to them. Like, it wasn't super one note. Like, you did get all these different types of flavors, and all the drinks between themselves were all incredibly different from each other. There's even a few more that I'm interested to go back and try. But truly, honestly, like, I loved this so much. It was so fun. Overall, I really adored the experience. I would come back to Beak and Barrel in a heartbeat. I think this is going to be a very popular place to be because it's just super fun and it's very unique, and there's not a ton of places on Disney property that are like this. Truly, your closest experiences are going to be Trader Sam's and Oga's, but all three of those have incredibly different vibes.
You definitely get your bang for your buck in terms of the quality and the pours of alcohol that you're getting in these drinks. I mean, that one drink, like I'm feeling pretty good right now.
Mark Allen always gets drunk after one drink. Fun fact. So the experience itself, there are a lot of things that happen. So if you've ever done Trader Sam's or seen videos of Trader Sam's, like when you order certain drinks, certain things happen around the restaurant. So there will be fun effects, or the cast members will do fun things. This is a little different. It's more like something happens every 10, 15 minutes or so. At one point, they were all singing a sea shanty, and then like all the cast members were singing a sea shanty. There was another moment when they were saying, "Oh no, the mermaids," and they were going to sing your song and kidnap you and draw you in with their music. And so there was like that happened, and then there was another thing that was like a storm. So there was lightning and flashing lights. So if you are sensitive to things like that, just be aware that there may be some flashing light effects while in the lounge. But they do those, I think it was like probably every 10 minutes.
It felt like every 10 to 15 minutes. I think during our time there was like 3 or 4 different little shows.
Sure. They weren't long. They were like 30 seconds. Like, it wasn't like a super long thing. It's just kind of a fun effect that happens. It just adds to the ambiance.
Yeah, it to me it felt like the theming and the lore of Oga's, where it's just like every inch is covered in theming and detail, but it felt like
the vibes of Trader Sam's.
Yes. For example, there was one point where Remy is the name of this parrot that comes out, and he says a whole thing, and then at the end he says, "Drink up, me hearties," and then all the cast members go, "Yo ho!"
Which that animatronic was also really cool. I felt really bad because Mark Allen couldn't see it, because where we were sitting there were these like big stained glass window looking thing, and there was a crack kind of in between, and so where I was sitting, I could just see him whenever he would kind of go in that crack, but Mark Allen could not see him, so that was a little bit of a bummer. But the animatronic little parrot was super cool. I love that. I want them to kind of do what I would love to see is them take some of that parrot animatronic and redo some of the animatronics at Tiki Room. Like that. That would be so cool. Anyways, that's like super side note.
All right, now to wrap all of that up, will we be back?
100%. I loved it. I think it was so fun. I would 10 out of 10 recommend.
Good luck getting a reservation. It's going to be very difficult to come by.
I wouldn't say that it's going to be very difficult. You just need to make sure that you are prepared to... I think you just need to make sure that you're prepared at that 60-day mark to go ahead and get that booking. And a really huge help for that is when you book with a travel planner. Shameless plug here, but when you book with a travel planner, they are very used to making reservations. I myself make reservations all the time, and so I kind of know my tips and my tricks to be able to have the biggest advantage of getting those. So when you book with a travel planner, that is a huge advantage. It's not guaranteed that they're going to be able to get those reservations. They have the same access to those things that you would. It's just a matter of we know how to click the buttons a little better. We're more familiar with that. So if this is something super high on your bucket list, definitely talk to a travel planner if you would like me to help you with your trip. There is more information about that in the description box below. But yeah, as long as you're just making sure you are prepared at that 60-day mark, I think you'll be able to snag it. And if not, there's a really great app I know. It's called Stakeout. That's literally just what it's called. It's called Stakeout, and you can set alerts on there. and it'll notify you if something becomes available. You do still have to go book it yourself, but it'll send you alerts if you weren't able to get it at that 60-day mark.
I do think that this is a great addition to Magic Kingdom. I'm very excited for like the future of storytelling when it comes to lounges and bars like this. I do also love the fact that kids can even go in there.
It's very family friendly, family friendly. I think especially the fact that they have the 2-drink limit means people aren't going to be getting super rowdy in there. So it's definitely, don't be afraid to bring your kiddos. It is very loud, so if you have kids who are very sensitive to loud flashing lights and things like that, it may not be the best place for you, but yeah, totally feel free to bring your family.
Overall, let us know if you have been to Beak and Barrel yet, what your favorite drink was, or if you haven't been and you're going, let us know in the comments what drink you're most excited for.
We do want to give a big shout out to Goofy Getaway's CEO for collaborating with us on this video and buying our drinks. If you would like to sponsor a video in the future to let us try more snacks or do a dining review, things like that, there is more information on how you can sponsor a snack in the description box below. Make sure that you are subscribed for more content, and that is all we have for you guys today. Now go create your ever after.
After.
That was a good one.